like my normal risk profile, taking 1% per trade or 1.5% max per trade. That my normal risk profile. But back to the MyFX book, I'm not sure if this is correct. So the audience then in the comment section can improve me if I'm wrong. I think if you trade with MT4, because MT4 can be manipulated, but MT5 cannot be manipulated anymore. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the audience knows
I think
better.
Basically it comes down to people say that you can buy a broker or white label a brokerage, and then you put in whatever in the back end, and MyFX Wick is going to verify that broker statement.
And that apparently works with MT4 only. Apparently, apparently. But maybe the people know better. I'm also not into that, like, because I would, to be honest, like coming up with that idea, like getting yourself a broker, manipulating the data.
Well, Bernd, you'd be surprised.
Yeah, but how much, like literally, how much evil is in this world?
Yes.
Like how much evil to have, like just this idea to do that. How much evil must be inside?
I think it also
Horrible.
speaks to how how few are actually profitable in the industry, because people go to such lengths to do all these tricks and manipulations, as opposed to just spending a couple of years learning the skill set and growing accordingly. But yeah, that also speaks to how hard this journey can be, and the journey of a forex trader or a multi-asset trader.
In general, a trader.
So in your journey, when you were specifically on the prop firms, because I think that's the most relatable angle for the most.
100%.
I saw when you were on the leaderboard, at times you had like 20%, 30% in a month, like huge returns for a month. What would you say for a newcomer or somebody who wants to be consistent over time? What are normal targets to have in terms of what is normal risk management, profit, growth, all of these kind of things?
Because what I teach and what I live by is by looking at not necessarily in percentage growth, but in risk to reward, right? So what when I take a trade, usually I don't go by percentage, I go by the fixed dollar risk.
Okay.
Right. So
monetary amount.
So I define my R. Usually, then in this case, it's like based on my $1 million account, it's $10,000, which is 1%, obviously. So that $10,000 though, that's my 1R, right? And what I'm trying to achieve is my KPIs. So there are only two KPIs basically, but the most important KPI, key performance indicator, is risk to reward, right? It weighs so much more than win-loss ratio. We know that 50-50 we can still be highly profitable. So, but my only KPI basically is risk to reward. So what I would like to achieve per month on average are 2 Rs. That's also my target. The target that I give to every student that I have, because 2 Rs is really a realistic goal and achievable. So if you achieve 2 Rs per month on average, so 24 Rs over a period of 1 year, right? So if I trade that $1 million account, $10,000 risk per trade over a period of years, 24 hours, multiplied by 24 is $240,000, $250,000, $250,000, right? So that's my goal. So, and if I can achieve this goal, I basically have proven to myself, I have achieved that target. I'm now allowed to give myself a raise, meaning I can get more.
Risk.
I can increase, not necessarily my risk, but I increase my funds.
Okay.
I increase my funds.
Because you maintain the 1R.
I maintain the 1R, exactly. But I can increase my funds because with prop firms, this is now pretty, quote unquote, easy to increase the funds. So basically you increase the funds. You still, now having a $2 million account, I'm basically now increasing also, it's that 1% is now basically $20,000. So I take like $20,000, which is basically 24 hours. It's like $500,000 per year on average. If I've achieved that, I'm allow myself basically to, because that number game is really important from a mindset perspective, because we have to all get used to bigger numbers when it comes to trading, right?
So do you think in dollar amount or do you think in R? And then you don't get
influenced in R,
by $20,000 loss?
Exactly, and this is what I'm trying to do. I'm getting away from the monetary approach to the KPI process approach, because I realized for myself, if I think in dollars all the time, my trading sucks basically. But if I think in process-based trading and in Rs, then it's like I'm not so stressed, I'm more like relaxed, and I can really focus on achieving these KPIs versus always running after the money.
So on an annualized basis, I get it. You want to kind of do 2R, let's say 2% per month, and therefore get that kind of gain, which is definitely beating the market, but it's not outlandish. That is like, how is that possible? It's very achievable. But how do you modulate that on a month-to-month basis? For example, let's say you have a losing month, or let's say you have reached your 2R for the month, would you stop? Or
No,
would you
no, I would
continue,
just
or-
continue. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
So I have to consider myself now, since I'm in a social media space, I have to classify myself. Before that, I never classified myself. I was just a trader, multi-asset trader.
Yes.
Now, once I got into the social media space, everyone asks me, what kind of trader are you?
strategy, yeah.
No, more like, are you a scalper? Are you a day trader? Are you a swing trader? I'm like, okay, then in this case, I consider myself a swing trader because I'm trading higher time frames. So my execution time frame is daily time frame. So I have now to classify myself. So I'm a swing trader, right? So since I have maybe 1 to 2 trades on average per week, there might be a week where it depends what the market gives me. There might be a week where I don't have any trade, but then on the next week, the market gives me 2 opportunities. So I take these 2 trades. So on average, 1 to 2 trades per week. So I would always, so if all my rules are met, I would always get into a trade because it's like a very high probability trade. So I would never not take that opportunity, if this makes sense.
When it comes to KPIs, I completely understand it. And I want to ask a question orientated around that, because everyone has to optimize their system for something. It sounds like you're going more for the risk to reward. And it's important for everyone to realize there are certain things in our control and out of our control. And if you try to control the uncontrollable, that's where you're going to lose your psychology and lose your mind and jump from strategy to strategy. So we kind of have to be okay with things out of our control, like the market. The market's going to do whatever.
100%.
But these things in our hands, in our control, we should optimize them and be very intentional.
100%.
So if I'm to list them, and I want to ask you about these controllables, we have our risk to reward, we have our win rates, we have our trade frequency, we have the number of assets we can potentially trade, and then also overall growth potential targets and maybe cutting off and so forth. And the way I kind of think of it in my perspective is I'm spinning plates. And let's say this risk reward is not doing well. Okay, I need to go back and spin it to make sure it doesn't collapse. So I'm kind of all over the place to recognize where my attention needs to be. But in that sense, I also have my KPIs. So I know I want to keep my win rate within 45 to 55%, because I know that if I go on a higher win rate, which I can, I just pick higher quality setups.
Yes, exactly.
I spin the win rates plate too much, and it's not needed now, because if I have an 80% win rate, it means my trade frequency is falling. And I want to have not one trade a month. I want to be trading at a good frequency with an average win rate and maximizing for risk reward also. So when it comes to your distribution of these plates, let's say, which ones are you focusing on? It sounds like risk reward. And where do you maintain all of them? So trade frequency is like 1 or 2 per week, you said?
1 or 2 per week.
Your risk reward, you want to keep it at a 1 to 2?
Yes,
position?
like at least 1 to 1, 1 to 2.
Okay.
It depends. It could, but nothing more than 1 to 4.
Okay, and the other one is your asset selection. So for example, I just picked 2, Euro
Exactly,
USD and GBUSD, whereas yourself, I like your system, so I want you to talk about it, because it's not something I've seen many people do,
Yes.
which is, in my perspective and also preference, I would say, I don't like to be looking all over the markets on multiple assets, let alone just the majors, because you're also looking at commodities, you're looking at all over.
I look everything, even agricultural markets.
So from my perspective, it's like, because I'm a technical base, I just need to find good opportunities on my currency pairs. Whereas your primary building block is the best fundamental opportunity.
Exactly.
And therefore, based on the week, some asset will have a better opportunity than others.
I like your description a lot. Yes.
So can you talk me through your selection process on, because it seems like on a Sunday, let's say you start your trading week by looking at the best opportunities across multiple asset classes. So let's talk about what those asset classes are and how you are selecting it before you get into the week.
Yeah. I like your description a lot, how you describe the system, basically, that my goal as a trader, is to find the best opportunity in this particular week for a particular market, right? And it might be in 1 week, it might be gold, and in another week, it might be euro dollar, in another week, it might be the equity indices, but in another week, like now, I'm looking to buy soybeans, right? So we talked about this, right? But you can trade soybeans now in a lot of prop firms as well, like FTMO. But again, that's another topic. But for me, yes, to describe basically my process is on the weekend, this is where I do my analysis. So I have a 2-step mechanical process. Step 1 is looking at the fundamentals. And not only I, this would be a lie, my team and myself, we developed fundamental indicators.